Hey there, welcome to this lesson. Hopefully you took the time to work on the assignment that I left you with in the previous lesson. So we're going to go over the solution for that first, and then we're going to have more puzzles, more SQL puzzles for you to get practice. And I'm going to tighten up all the nuts and bolts remaining when it comes to using these filtering conditions, using the where and or, along with how to use parentheses to combine conditions together. So let's get started. The question was, in the previous assignment, I wanted you to write a query that returns those employees that don't make any commission at all and that have a salary greater than $1,100 but less than $5,000. Now, the only exception to that rule is that their salary cannot be equal to $3,000. Okay? So let's get started. I'm going to do a select, and let me actually change my syntax to be more easier to read. I'm going to use capitals. Select star from emp. Let's get the data in this table, and this is the entire result set. So the first things first, I need to identify those employees that don't have any commission, right? So that qualifies all of these records except for the ones that have some data. And as a matter of fact, Turner here, this record also qualifies. You may have had trouble bringing this record into your query, okay? And I purposely made it tricky so that you had to figure out how exactly to get this record in there. The first thing is you may have, or a lot of people make this mistake where they say select star from employee, where the commission column here, COMM is equal to null, okay? This is actually inaccurate. You can't have equal to null. You have to use is null. And the reason is equality means that you're checking for the exactness of something, okay? And there's no such thing as a null value being exactly equal to another null value, right? Two nulls do not actually equal to each other. It's like saying that empty is equal to empty. No, it's not actually. Right? And emptiness is totally different than some other emptiness, if hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But basically, that's the gist of it. You can't have null equal to null, right? That's why they have that special is null term, or keyword rather, in SQL. But anyway, if you were to run this, this would be a mistake, and it's just going to say invalid SQL statement. So you may have run into this. A lot of people actually do find themselves with this error. So if I do is null, right, if I change that equal to is, now this is going to return all of those employees that actually have null in their data, okay? So let's start with this, and we'll go over how to bring that zero that I showed you in later. So select star from emp where commission is null, and the salary is greater than 1,100 and salary is less than 5,000. Now, some of you may have actually thought that I wanted a range, right, between 1,100 and 5,000, but that's, if you look at the instructions carefully, that's not what I asked for. I wanted a salary that's greater than 1,100 but less than 5,000. That means I don't want this 1,100 included in the result set, nor this 5,000, right? I want it to be greater than this number, all of those employees that make more than this number, and all of those employees that make less than this number, okay? So within this range, but non-inclusive, not including the 5,000 or the 1,100. Because remember, the between clause includes the beginning and end range in the result set, and we don't want that included. Now let's run this so that we have a subset to see what we're working with. Now we have all of those employees that didn't make a commission and that make more than 1,100 but less than 5,000. Okay, so we're on our way to solving this problem. Now the third catch was that the salary cannot be 3,000. Okay, so these guys, Scott and Ford, they make $3,000. These should be excluded from the result set. So we need another AND condition and say where salary is not equal to 3,000. If you select this and hit run, this will give you the data. Now another way to do not equals is do this, less than, greater than, right? So if the salary is less than 3,000, as well as the salary must be greater than 3,000, then that means it's anything but 3,000, right? So that is essentially the same thing as doing a not equals. So this less than, greater than together is the same thing as not equals. So feel free to use that. Now, if we select this entire thing and hit run, this gives us all of those records, okay, that we are interested in, except for that one record where the commission is actually 0. That also qualifies as an employee that didn't make any commission. So let's select from the employee table again, so we can identify that record. And here is that guy, Turner. He's a salesman and he made $0 in commission. So I actually need to include him in my result set. I can't just say and commission is equal to 0, because guess what? All of these conditions are being applied at every single record, right? And when I do this, it's going to check for this must be this condition must be true, as well as this condition must be true, as well as these conditions must be true, and that's not going to pass for any of these records, right? If I run this, no data found, okay? So we can't use and commission is equal to 0. So for this particular problem, I could change it to or commission is equal to 0. All of these ands are filtering the data where commission is null, and salary is greater than 1,100, less than 5,000, and salary is not equal to 3,000, or return those records that have the value 0 in the commission. Now, if I select this and hit run, notice that it does bring in that extra record. Turner, he's making $0. So hopefully you didn't miss this commission is equal to 0, because that is actually also another employee that is not making any commission. Now, this query does return the expected data, but it is not 100% correct. Let me show you something interesting. If I take this or commission is equal to 0, if I take this statement here and put that in between, in between these and conditions, and then run, it's actually not going to give me the correct result. And you may have made this mistake as well. Basically, it's breaking the anding of this condition, the ands, together. In SQL, you want to combine all of your and conditions together as one. So having this or interrupting all these ands, this query now is basically select star from emp where commission is null and salary is greater than 1,100 and salary is less than 5,000, or you could have a commission equal to 0 and salary is not equal to 3,000. So do you notice how this or is interrupting the flow of all of these ands together? It's actually dividing the criteria into two parts. One of the parts matches these first conditions, and the other is this entirely new criteria. So it's making either one of these to be true, and that is not correct according to our requirement. So if you pull that or out of there, all right, and you want to combine all of these ands together, because each one of these records qualifies only when all of these conditions are true, where commission is null and salary is greater than 1,100 and salary is less than 5,000 and salary is not equal to 3,000. This is one chunk, one condition, really. All of these things together is what qualifies a particular record. And at the end here is where we're tagging on this extra thing where we're saying, or the commission could equal $0. So oftentimes when we have these conditions here, multiple conditions, they're actually wrapped in parentheses, okay? So everything in these parentheses is evaluated together, okay? So the presence of parentheses causes conditions within them to be evaluated together. Keep that in mind. This is very important, and not using this correctly could cause inaccurate data to be returned, okay? In this particular example, you can either leave the parentheses in or leave them out. As long as all of these ands are clubbed together one after the other, they're all going to be checked together. And then finally at the end, we're checking or the commission is equal to 0. Okay, so you can run it like this, or you can have the parentheses, which I highly recommend when you have these multiple conditions like this, and it makes sense for all of these conditions to be evaluated together. Wrap them in parentheses. Okay, and then this or clause, this is sort of a loner. We could just leave that on its own out there. Now this query does give us the correct data that we expect based on these conditions, but guess what? This query is incorrect. Okay, it's wrong. And I'll explain to you, I'll get into the details as to why that's wrong. This is giving me the correct data, but it's not a correct query for what we are trying to do. Let's say that instead of salary not equal to 3,000, I change the terms of the question and I say, and salary should not be 1,500. The conditions now are select everything from employee where the commission is null. Okay, so all of those employees where the commission is null and the salary is greater than 1,100 and salary is less than 5,000. Okay, and the salary should not be 1,500. Okay, so at this point, what do you think is going to happen when I run this? Because this 1,500 is the guy that contains the commission 0, and I need to exclude this record because the salary is 1,500. We can't have a salary of 1,500, right? Based on this condition. But when I run this, I change the salary not equal to 1,500. So I don't want Turner to show up anymore because he's disqualified. His salary is 1,500 and he should not be in the result set. When I run this, guess what? His data is coming in, right? Even though I'm saying salary is not equal to 1,500, he is still showing up in the result set, right? The reason for this is exactly how it sounds like. We're saying select from employee where commission is null and salary is this and salary is not equal to 1,500, or disregard all of this, just give me commission is equal to 0. Okay, so it's either or. Either all of these conditions are true or this condition is true. All right, that's what's going on here. That is why this is being included in the result set. So how do we ensure that we identify where commission is null as well as those people that earned a 0 in their commission and have all of these conditions be applied as well? So the way to fix this, we can get rid of this or commission is equal to 0 and we can put that here, up here. Let me get rid of these parentheses. So I can say where emp, and let me organize this a little bit better. Select star from emp where commission is null or, right, or commission is equal to 0. Okay, and I want to wrap this. I want to wrap this particular condition. Right? These two together make up one condition, either a null or a 0. If I select this and run, this will give me all of those employees that have an empty, that have null in their commission column, as well as a 0 in their commission column. Okay, and then when I run this entire thing, you'll no longer see the employee making 1,500, and that meets our requirement. So this is an important thing to keep in mind. Study this query, understand what's going on. These together are being evaluated because they're wrapped in these parentheses, and all of these ands together are being applied at every single record. Okay, so to read this more like English, we're doing select star from emp where commission is null or commission is 0. All right, where commission is null or commission is 0, and these conditions. All right. So we are further reducing the result set by applying these conditions on this filtered data. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. This is a tricky concept for a lot of people to understand when they're first learning about ands and ors, but definitely take your time with this lesson and understand what's going on. This is very important, being able to apply these parentheses with your filter conditions. This makes SQL somewhat tricky for a lot of newcomers. So don't worry if this is confusing. We're going to get plenty more practice in the course. Now, with that being said, it's time for you to try another puzzle, all right, to exercise this and an OR logic. And the assignment is to write a query that returns those employees that are salesmen and that make either $300 in commission or greater than $1,000 in commission. So pause the video now and try this out, and you can resume to watch my solution. All right, hopefully you tried this assignment out. Let's get rid of the old query here, and let's run this bare bones select star from employee to see all of the data in the table. Now let's look through the data and find the records that we expect to be returned based on the requirement. And those are right here. There's salesman, and the commission column contains the data 300 or greater than 1,000, and that's this record. So both of these records qualify, and because they're both salesmen. So let's work on this query, and I only expect these two records to be returned, the salesman Alan as well as the salesman Martin. So we do select star from employee where job is equal to salesman. Let's first run this part to identify all of the salesmen, and there's 4 of them. The salesman commission should be either 300 or greater than 1,000. So to get that condition to work, we do and commission is equal to 300 or commission is greater than 1,000. And since we have a combined expression here, right, either one of these must be true. So we need parentheses. And the presence of parentheses causes conditions within them to be evaluated together. Okay, so it's either 300 or commission is greater than 1,000. Either one of these must be true, along with the fact that the employee must be a salesman. So now if we highlight this and hit run, this will give us those 2 records that we are expecting. Now in the remainder of this lesson, I want to go over another operator referred to as like. And you can use this to search for records that don't match exactly, but kind of match, okay? You basically give a pattern and it tries to search for all of those records that match that pattern. So let me give you an example. Let me get rid of this bottom condition here. And right now we just have select star from employee where job is equal to salesman. So we are getting the data that matches exactly with the word salesman in the job column. If I hit run, it's going to give me all of the records that contain exactly this particular word in the job column, right? Where job equals salesman. But I can also do like, and if you highlight this and hit run, it's going to give us that data. But you might be wondering, well, why would you use like? You could just use equals. Well, the benefit of like is that I don't have to give this entire exact word, right? I don't need to know that up front. I can just say, give me all of the data that contains this pattern, okay? S%. And what this means is give me all of the data that starts with the letter S in the job column. And this percent sign, the percent sign is also referred to as a wild card because it could take the place of any character. In this case, it'll match any other characters after the S. So the only thing that's compulsory is the first letter S followed by any other gibberish that might follow the word. Okay, so now if I highlight this and hit run, it'll of course give me all of the salesmen, but we know we have clerks. So I could do the same thing with C%, and highlight this and hit run, and this will give me all of the clerks. I know I have managers, so I don't have to write the whole word manager. I could just write MAN and hit run, and this will give me all of the managers. I could check for where the last 3 letters of the word is GER. And the way I would do that is I would put the percent first, and then after the percent, the last 3 letters here are compulsory. This word must end with GER, but I don't care about anything before. So highlight this and hit run, and it will give me the managers as well. Now we covered a lot of ground in this lesson, so let's wrap it up. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about aliases and how to change the way data looks in the output. So stay tuned. I'll see you soon.